Okay, thank you very much. So I guess I'll start immediately. So for this session, so we are going to discuss about games for sustainability. So I am from the University of Technology, Mauritius. And so let's dive in immediately. And first of all, when we go through the term sustainability, it's good to understand that it is living and working in ways that don't use up all the resources or harm the planet. So future generations can also have what they need to live well. So in short, this is about how we use what we need from nature. We use only what we need. We create less waste and pollution. We protect animals, plants, and natural places. We ensure that everybody has access to basic needs. So these are some of the things that we expect from this area of sustainability. Now, the theme that we have here is games for sustainability. So if we go through this definition, which is present in the guidelines that was provided to all participants, so it mentions that games are interactive tools designed to promote awareness, education, and action on sustainability issues. So these games address topics like climate change, resource management, biodiversity by simulating real-world challenges and encouraging players to make decisions that balance the environmental, social, and economic outcomes. So this is something that you have in the guideline, and as well we have some examples like the SimCity game and the Eco game, which I guess many of you have gone through, or alternatively, I'll suggest you go through these two games. Now, within the guidelines, you'll find as well a few resources, a few references, sorry. So I have one reference here, which is climate change education through education-based learning. If you go through this paper, you'll find that it mentions a few games, like for example, Climaway, which is a computer game, and you have a screenshot on the right. The aim of this game is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions through in various sectors, uh, such as energy production, agriculture, and travel. There is another game called Habitat, still from this paper, where in this game, players care for a 3D animated polar bear by completing mini games and real-world missions focused on environmentally friendly actions. So in here, we find that there are different types of games. So for example, we can have a card game or a board game. You have an example on the right here, and which is Eco Chains. It is about a multiplayer card game involving building, managing, and protecting food webs of Arctic species. So when we go through the different types of games, you find that we can have card game, we can have computer game, we can have mobile game, and then we have some types of game called pervasive games. Now, pervasive games are games that are a combination of online and offline activities. One good example would be the location-based game like Pokemon Go, in which users or players have to walk around the neighborhood to catch virtual creatures. So if we use this idea, we can create treasure hunts or themed adventures as games as well. So when we mention games now, if we go through this aspect of digital games, there are different categories of games. For example, we have 2D games, which are two-dimensional graphics. They use X and Y coordinates to move. You have an example on the right on the screen here. Then we have a type of game called isometric, which is still a 2D game, but simply it gives an illusion of depth. You have another example down on the right. Then we have 3D games, which use the free axis XYZ. Then, as majority of you know, we now have VR games. So these games will require a virtual reality headset. So if we go through the complexity of building games, you'll find that this is in the order from 2D games till VR games. So 2D games are much easier to build compared to VR games. Now, to be able to build a game, we will require what we call a game editor. Now, some example of game editors. So if you are going to work on 2D or isometric 2D, you can consider software like Game Maker, Godot Engine, Scratch, Construct. I guess Scratch is extremely popular because it is free and it is being used in the education sector. So in our case at the university, we have been using Construct Free simply because it has the many additional features, which we'll discover in a few minutes. And then for those of you who want to build games in 3D, then you have game engines like Unreal, Unity, CryEngine. Similarly, if you want to build VR games, you'll have to search for Unity with a VR toolkit or the Unreal Engine with the appropriate toolkit to build the games. So these are the tools that we need to be able to build a game. So as I previously mentioned, in our case at the university, for one of the modules, we are using Construct Free simply because it is a sort of rapid application development tool for games and mobile applications. So it allows us to develop fast, to create games very fast. And in fact, Skira advertises their product of Construct Free as being suitable for everyone. In fact, from primary education to adult learners and anything in between. This is what they advertise their product as. And in fact, it is so easy that there is no need really to create, to write codes in the application. It's simply a drag and drop friendly interface. But of course, those who want to write their codes, they have this possibility as well. So if you are interested into trying Construct Free, you can visit the link that we have here, editor.construct.net. Now, it's good to mention that you can try it for free and build your game without any difficulty. However, additional features like the ability to export the game into a mobile application is available if you have a license key or a key. So with these keys, you can easily export the game now to mobile devices as well. Now, there is a misconception that you simply need to be a very good programmer. And if you're a very good programmer, this means that you should be a very good game developer and should be able to design and create a very good game. Now, unfortunately, this is not necessarily true. Let's see why. First of all, to be able to create a game properly, you will need to have or develop your creative skills. So we will need the art and design fundamentals. We need to know how to perform storytelling and work with a narrative to design something. We will need to be able to understand sound design, how to create background music. We will need to be able to work with animation to create different animations for the game. Now, apart from that, we will need to have some technical skills, like, for example, uh, working with levels in a game. We'll need to know how to design the levels. We will need to understand user interface and user experience when we place our buttons or interfaces on the game. So on top of that, to be able to create a good game, we'll need to have these soft skills. Like, for example, we need to be able to work collaboratively in a team. We need to manage our time properly. We will need to solve uh, problems that will arise as and when in these specific situations. And finally, once you have the game, there are some other stuff that comes into play. For example, you might want to know how to add monetization, how to integrate social media, or even to know about game mechanics to be able to improve the quality of the game. So, in brief, it is a very good experience if you're going to launch yourself into the creation of a game. It will create multidisciplinary thinkers, so which is something very good, and it's worth giving it a try. So let's say we want to build a game. Now, the first problem that we're going to face is where do we get our assets? Where do we get the graphics? So where do we get the elements to start the game? So first of all, it's good to know that digital assets are the most important items for the creation of a game. And these include, you will need to have the main character, you will need to have the enemies, the background elements, and for this, it is important to make sure that you have the appropriate rights to use these assets. So some example websites that you can consider are listed here. We have kenny.nl, we have opengameart.org, we have craftpix, and we have itch.io. So let me just show you the website of Kenny. So this is the website of Kenny here. And you will find that it has thousands of completely free game assets for use. So I'll recommend you to visit this link. Now, it can happen that for the theme you're working on, you don't find the assets over there. So what are the alternatives? Maybe you'll have to create the assets on your own using a graphics package. Maybe your artist with Photoshop, uh, Illustrator, or the tools, you can use that. Alternatively, if you want to use AI tools to generate the assets, you can consider as well, but it might require some additional steps. Now, below is an example of a prompt that I sent to Midjourney. Midjourney is an AI tool which creates graphics based on the prompt that we send them. So in here, you find that the instruction was create a 2D 6-frame sprite sheet showing Super Mario performing a walk cycle on a white background. So this is what the software provided. Now, it is important when we are going to use our assets for a game to make sure that we deal with licensing and copyrighted materials properly. So prior to using any digital assets for the creation of a game, you need to make sure that you have the appropriate rights to use the same. So in short, you should not download any digital assets, sound, background music that you find on the internet without making sure that you have appropriate licenses to use these assets. So this is very important. Now, given that we have spoken about the uh, graphics, another important aspect is sounds. So again, it is not recommended to just go through the internet and pick up some sounds that you find online. Within your game, you will need to have some sounds. For example, let's say you're building a game, a platformer game like Super Mario. You want the character to have a nice sound of picking up a coin. You will need to have this sound. So there are some sound generators, like for example, if you go through the internet, you download SFXR or BFXR. These are some tools or that we call as sound generators that you can use to quickly generate some sounds. Let me give you an example. I have um, the software open here. So this is SFXR. I'm not sure if my the audio system of my computer is going to send the sound through the Zoom session. But anyway, let me try that. If I click on the play sound, I should be able to hear sound. In my case, I'm hearing it here. So I can generate different sounds. So if I vary these generators here, I can have different sounds generated. And then I can simply export the sound. If I click on export to wave, I can export the sound and then I use the sound. So this is the software that we call SFXR. And there is another version which is much more powerful than the SFXR called BFXR, which you can try. It is available online. And then, of course, for those of you who would like to enjoy creating some music or background music, you can go through advanced tools like FL Studio, which will allow you to create background music and sounds. So we have been using Construct in a few of our projects at the university, and we have the students trying different algorithms, improving different algorithms, working on different algorithms. So a few of the examples are here. So we have been doing that for many years now. So we have nearly around 10 years of experience building these games. So I'll just use a few examples here, maybe connected with SDGs, sustainability, and as well as the important elements that we need to be able to work. So I'll start by an example of a game. Let's consider this a game if we want to build one like that, a tree planting initiative. Let's say we want to encourage people to plant fruiting plants such that in the future, people around will be able to receive some fruits, collect some fruits, and go for fruit picking. So let's say we want to initiate this process. First of all, we want to invite some players to plant trees. So this can be done through a mobile application where we provide a map to encourage people to go around specific spots on the map and then plant some trees. And then, of course, maybe we will need them to do some pictures of the plants and then share the location on a map so that in the future we can have a treasure hunt map for others to use at the game. So if I use this as an example, you will find that within the game engine that we are going to work, we will need to work with different aspects. Let's say, for example, in the application, I will need to be able to use GPS or maps. I will need to be able to work with the camera functionality. I will need to be able to, let's say, if I want to integrate social media to share the score or the location of the fruiting plants, and if we want to award badges to those who have really been able to achieve something. Let's say the fruiting plant they placed in Earth was successful, so we want to award them a badge. So these are elements that we might consider in our game. So if we want to do that, the most important thing is, can our game editor help us build these functionalities easily? So this example that I'm taking here comes from a paper published in 2015 titled An Open Framework to Geotag and Locate Plants Around the World. And the application was built using Construct, so you can have an idea of the capability of the software. So I'll move to another example titled Trash Toss. Now, Trash Toss is a game built by Pranav Gupta Chaman as part of an exercise to encourage people to know exactly how to use recycle bins. So the game is a physics-based game. I'll invite you to visit the link present on the slide here to try the game. So rapidly, let me show you the game. So this is a game here, and it is available through this link that you can try. Now, another game that one of our students built was Trash Hunter. Now, Trash Hunter is simply a submarine that is going through the sea, trying to collect and clean the ocean from pollution. Now, you have the website of Trash Hunter here. So you can go through, I'll invite you to go through and to understand what these students try to do in this game. So it would be nice if you could go through to have an idea. And they are being shared here because these games were built using Construct. So now, given that I mentioned that Construct is an easy to use software, so I'll request you to go through Construct, and when you open Construct, you will have some examples that you can try. Now, previously, there was a version of Construct called Construct 2. Now, the previous version, the Construct 2, was working offline. That is, it was working only on the computer that we had. Now, Construct 3, the major difference is simply that the version of the software is going to work online. So you have to use the browser to get access to it. I will simply dive in Construct 2 in here. This is the interface of Construct. And this is an old version of Construct, the version of Construct 2. So if I do File, Open, and I have a series of examples here. Let's say, for example, I want to open the camera. Let me give you an example of a geolocation, for example. So these are code snippets that were written in the library of Construct as example. So just to show you how it is, so this is the interface of Construct 2, and these are the codes for this interface. Now, if you want to go through the codes, this is an event sheet, and in fact, it uses a sort of drag and drop, and you find here they have only around 8 to 9 lines of code written to be able to get a GPS coordinates from a mobile device and to use that. Now, if I review that, so I'll have the application running in my browser. So exceptionally, I won't get the position and watch the position here. I simply don't want to share my location. So I'll just get back to Construct 2. So another example of the software here. So let me close this example. Let's open another example. So if I do File, Open. Let me open a platformer now. So let me take a platform, a simple movement. Okay, let's take this one. So what we have here are the basic building blocks for what we call a platformer game. So the rectangular shapes here are simply our items that we can replace. Let's say I want to replace this by a ground, I can replace it easily. I want to replace that by our main character, our hero in our game, so I can replace that. And in fact, these are the line of codes that we have. So if I run this, so this is interface. I'm going to use my arrow keys now to play the game, or in our case, okay. So let me try that. As you can see, I can navigate through. And these are the basic building blocks to create a game. So getting back to the interface of Construct, so I'm just going to close this project. And from the list here, so if I do open, you'll find that we have a series of examples here. We have examples like, for example, how to access microphone, how to create a multiplayer, how to access camera. So you have all these examples present here that we can go through to understand how things work inside Construct. So let's get back to the PowerPoint now. So this slide simply presents an example of input devices that we have in Construct Free. For example, you want to access a camera, GPS, or audio. So this one is for the camera input, and you will have the codes for the camera input. Similarly, if you were to access a geolocation, you simply have to search for geolocation in the software to have an idea of the algorithm. This is what we have done previously. And if you want to go through platformer, you have to search for the example of platformer, and then maybe through this you can learn how to build a platform and get started very easy. Now, there are different types of algorithms inside Construct, and Construct is very easy to use. One example here is a physics-based algorithm. So the algorithm is simply different, and the way of designing the game would be different. So I would recommend you to search for physics puzzle as well to try that. So given that maybe the duration of the session is too short, it will be difficult for me to give you a proper introduction to Construct Free. So what we have here, optionally, for those of you who want to give Construct a try, I would recommend you to visit this link. And when you visit this link, you will get access to a folder. Let me show you the folder now. So you will get access to a folder similar to this one. Now inside this folder, you'll have a PDF with an with a tutorial to create a platformer game. Now, this platformer game, if you follow this tutorial, it will start by creating a new project. It will use assets from Kene. It will use some tiles from Kene as well. And then we are going to build a platformer. Now, the same exercise that we have here, if you want, you can go through the video link. So I have a YouTube video link on that. In fact, the process is around 10 minutes if you want to build that, but with explanation, it will be around 25 minutes. So this is an example of the game. Donc, this tutorial is in Creole, so it is easier for you to follow. I guess it might be a very good experience for those of you who want to try that. So you have this information inside, for the tutorial, have the information inside the PDF here. And you have the link for the video inside the PDF. And also important to mention that if you want to use the assets, you have all the assets that will be downloaded together. So it will be in a folder that you can use. Now, the tutorial also encourages students to try different games. One good classic is Red Ball. And then there is another tutorial on how to create a bike using some bike assets and get it moving. So finally, the tutorial concludes by providing an instruction on how to export the game into a mobile application for deployment on mobile phones. So this as well, you can try that. So getting back to the slides again now. So this is a link for the assets, which is optional for those of you who want to try that. Now, what you have in the assets files is simply that we have different parts. Part one, where we set up the layout. Part two, we load the hero and the ground. Part three, we add the platform behavior. And part four and part five are supposed to be the process where we add monetization and we export the game. So if we go through the folder again, you'll find that the game was saved at different stages. So you have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So you can try that. So I recommend all of you who are interested in the field to give this game a try. Now, as I mentioned, there is a video tutorial online which is in Creole, and it will be easy for those of you who want to give it a try. Now, to conclude this session on games for sustainability, if you want to build a game, first of all, you will need to tackle this aspect of assets. You will need to find your assets. You will need to make sure you have appropriate graphics and audio as well, sounds as well. You will need to make a choice on the game editor you want to use. Now, not all game editors are the same. Some game editors are much more difficult to start with. They have a stronger learning curve. So others are much easier to use. Now, some game editors may not be powerful enough to provide flexibility in doing different stuffs. You will need to consider your game mechanics when you work on your game. And finally, it is important when you are building a game to work as a team. Otherwise, it might be very challenging. So, as well as the information, it's good to mention that, in fact, we did organize a workshop at the Mauritius Software Craftsmanship Community Developers Conference in 2024. So the video that you have here is a video that was used previously for this event. So when you go through the content, maybe you can find that. Now, this workshop has, we have done a workshop in Rodrigues as well in 2024 on games. It was for the Road IT Fair. So if we have participants from Rodrigues here, maybe they can recall. This workshop was on game, was run for Society 5.0. And in 2024, we had the privilege to be invited by the Imperial College for a workshop where we delivered a workshop on game development, which is close to the one that you have in the video. So I'll recommend you to go through if you want to advise the students to give it a try. They can give it a try. Now, we hope to have an upcoming workshop at the MSCC DevCon 2025, which will happen on the 24th to 26th of July 2025 at Valabagatel. So God willing, we will have another session on game development. So there's an invitation for those of you who are interested. Now, we can consider a workshop at your level can consider that upon request, of course. And to reach me, I'll request you to send me an email. So there you are. That's it for this topic on games for sustainability. We'll just move to the question and answers now, if we have any.
Thank you very much, Dr. Denis, for this very nice presentation. So this reminds me of a game that I used to play a long time ago. I don't know if you know this platform game called Pac-Man.
Pac-Man, yes, indeed. These are the great classics.
So I guess now with game editors like Construct, it should be very easy to build a game like this, similar like this, no?
Indeed, it is easy, but most importantly, maybe we should try that for those who are at an early age. They should try the game editors to boost their creativity.
Yes. So I will now leave the floor to participants if you have any questions regarding the topic.
Sure. So I find.
Hello, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you think it's not a little bit too difficult for secondary student with gaming, especially using construct 3D array, because I think it's the level is a bit too high. And also, I would like to know if how many departments are involved in this project. Thank you.
Yes, for the departments, can you please just clarify the question? I failed to get the point for the departments. Maybe you mean
For
from which
department, I mean,
department I am?
no, for the department, I mean, which department should consider the project? Is it like maths department, science department, IT department?
At the level of the school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe anyone related with maybe IT department or the creative team at the
Yeah,
school.
but for IT,
So
but my question is these types of development, I mean the
mhm,
game
mhm.
construct,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
personally
yeah,
believe that it's the level is high as an IT
yeah,
teacher
yeah,
myself,
yeah,
because
yeah.
using construct, even in programming for grade 11 and 12 student,
Mhm, mhm.
it's not like you know.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for this question. I appreciate the point that you are making. Indeed, I guess if we go through games like SimCity or Echo, this game took years to develop, and it required a huge team of developers to work on that. But if you go through the presentation, you find that I mentioned the different types of complexity that we have in building the different games, and then we are concentrating on the 2D games, which is easiest one to build. And building games will also depend on the choice of the editor. Within Construct, you can build a game within 3 days. So, of course, when you're going to start, you will need to have some time to understand how to build a game. And just to add to that, you'll find that from the slide that we have here, in fact, Skira
Mhm.
is claiming that this software is suitable for primary education to adult learners. In fact, in our case, maybe during our time, we didn't have access to these tools because these are new.
Mhm.
It is worth giving it a try. So I'll invite you to give it a try. And secondly, in fact, when I mentioned that we had been able to do a workshop at Imperial College, in fact,
Mhm.
immediately after this session, the educator sent me a few links of the games developed by the students over there. So,
Okay.
there are so many resources and materials online
Mhm.
that makes it fun and easy for the students to develop. I think it is worth considering.
Okay. Thank you.
Dr. Denis, I see there's a question regarding the upcoming workshop at Voila Bagatelle. They're asking
Mhm.
if participating schools will be invited or free to
In,
join.
in in fact, this is open to the public. This is open to the public. You simply have to search for the MSCC's DaveCon 2025. So everyone is welcome to be over there. Now, this conference is open for those of for the educators who are here who wanted even to present something to the conference. They could have done so. I guess now the registration for presenters is now closed, but for those attendees, they can register. Maybe next year we can find some educators presenting contents over there. So everyone is most welcome to join in. And of course, maybe if there are some schools who are interested, unfortunately, um, uh, we won't be able to consider every school, but if there are some schools who would like to have a session running at the school, so maybe you can get in touch with me. You can organize a session. So during the session, the students will have for example, 2-hour session where we're going to build a game, a platformer game like Super Mario from scratch. We're going to build that together in class in 2 hours, and we're going to make sure that it goes directly on our phone and test it in class. So we can consider this as well. I hope this answers the question. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Are there any other questions regarding this topic? Okay. Well, no, I think we don't have any more questions. But anyway, Dr. Dani, well, thank you very much for being present today and presenting on this topic.
Thank you. It's
And
my pleasure as well.
if there's any information or questions arising from participants, we'll let you know. And I think you
Okay.
also have your contact details on the screen already. So if they need to, they can contact you directly also for
Yeah.
even
Mhm.
upcoming workshops that you're
Mhm.
organizing.
Mhm.
Anyway, well, thank you very much again, and I wish you a nice day ahead.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, please.
Hello, I'm a lecturer at Polytechnics Mauritius,
Mhm.
and I have a question regarding the registration. And is it mandatory for each student to register on the platform beforehand? Because actually, we have an internal selection process at PML. And instead, can we go ahead and register while forming the groups instead?
You're talking for Innovate, please.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Same for me.
So I mean, you can make them. We have extended the deadline also till Monday.
Yeah.
So you still have up till Monday to do to register your team.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So it's the role of a facilitator or the teacher to register the students for team participation.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
Good. Okay. Okay. Are there any more questions? No. Right. Okay. So thank you everyone for being present today for this overview of Innovate and also overview of the topic on ways to art and games for sustainability.